Bluetooth earbuds in, but I trust that you can hear me. I'm scrolling through TikTok.
I'm going to celebrate.
I'm scrolling through TikTok, and I saw this. I saw this
For you all. So yeah, great representation. I acknowledge your concern.
Here's where the disconnect comes in. I want to be clear about this. This is not a black and white issue. This isn't a political issue. It's not a Democratic or Republican Party issue. It's not about that. It's a morality issue. We're here. We've been here for 4 or 5 years. Commitment. We should have someone who's going to celebrate us. How can someone who goes against everything that we stand for and believe in, morality-wise, how can that person uplift me on my day of stepping into the real world? How can I don't feel supported. It's nothing that she can say that would make me feel encouraged to step out into this society. A society where the America and the country that I believe in, she don't have that same agenda. And I want to say something, being conservative is not the issue. That's all right. We all have our own political right. But she's explicitly said, I am a Trump conservative. Okay, if you believe in Trump, you support pedophilia, you support bigotry, you support racism, whatever. Pro-police, the same police that's killing our people, the same, and also she also supports ICE. She also would like to have, because I would say a concentration camp, that's what it is. That's not what they calling it, but y'all want to bring one of those kids to our state, to South Carolina. That's what y'all believe in. We don't believe in that. South Carolina State has a history of being activists and being proactive and standing up and believing in what's right. We have Hamilton, and Middleton. People that attended our school that have been activists and who have died for what they believe in. South Carolina State is an active representation of that. We acknowledge that every year. So how can someone who doesn't even respect that come and encourage us and uplift us at a graduation? Things that we have worked hard for. She don't, and let me say another thing. This lady is running for government. It just seems a little bit quick. Let me make sure I'm saying right. Quick yeah, you know what I'm saying. I scratch your back, you scratch mine. What exactly is? Because I know we like to say, hey, it's a university. We have to do this to benefit our university. But what is the students, the people who are actively going here, the people who have the numbers and the majority? What are we gaining from this? Because to me and to a lot of others, it seems like she's doing this for her own personal gain. It's for her political agenda.
Yes, what it is. Thank all of you for being here, and I will discuss concern. I've heard your concerns. Thank you.
No response for an observation that is right now.
So, I immediately did some digging, and I wanted to see who who this lady was, right? So let's go see. Let's go search for Sister Paula Evans.
While I was at the White House today, I heard about what's happening on the campus of SC State University. Let's be clear, facts trump feelings in the real world. President Trump and conservatives have done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. I must be doing something right because woke mobs are coming after me for being a champion of eliminating radical DEI scams on college campuses. So bring it on. Just like President Trump, I'll never back down or bend a knee to the woke radicals. I'm ending DEI on campuses once and for all. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more to say about this later. In the meantime, while I was at the White House today, I heard about what's happening on the campus.
There is some very racially charged news out of South Carolina. Today. And I know
I'm gonna come back and we're gonna download this as well. Yes. Alright, so let me go back into here.
Well, I was at the White House today.
there's
Trump concern.
I was at the White House today. I heard about what's.
Yeah, which this is probably
Well, I was at the White.
some issues. Because now I can't hear it. Let me put my earbuds in. Maybe I can. A lot of times when you do a lot of shifting here and there, you're gonna cause some problems. So let's crank up the old vehicle. I may go on to. All right. All right, let's come back and see what we got over here. Where's my transcript? Okay, so that's Lieutenant Governor Pamela Everett. Let's see what Gemini has to say on this subject.
No problem, music. Here is the transcript of the video and a factual breakdown of the claims made regarding HBCU funding and DEI initiatives. Transcript, Lieutenant Governor Pamela Yvette. Well, I was at the White House today. I heard about what's happening on the campus of SC State University. Let's be clear. Facts trump feelings in the real world. President Donald Trump and conservatives have done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. I must be doing something right, because woke mobs are coming after me for being a champion of eliminating radical DEI scams on college campuses. So bring it on. Just like President Trump, I'll never back down or bend a knee to the woke radicals. I'm ending DEI on campuses once and for all. Stay tuned. I'm going to have a lot more to say about this later. In the meantime, fact check and context. 1. President Donald Trump done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. This is a frequent point of debate. Here is the breakdown of the actual legislative actions. Future Act 2019. President Trump signed this bipartisan bill which made $255 million in annual funding for HBCUs and other minority-serving institutions permanent. Previously, this funding required frequent congressional renewal. HBCU Capital Financing Program. The Trump administration oversaw the forgiveness of over $300 million in disaster relief loans for several HBCUs following Hurricanes Katrina and Rita. Comparison. While these were significant wins, the Biden-Harris administration has since allocated over $16 billion in federal funding to HBCUs via the American Rescue Plan and other grants, which is numerically the largest investment to date. The claim of more than any administration is often considered partially true or exaggerated, depending on whether you value permanent legislative structure over total dollar amount. 2. DEI as scams on college campuses. This is a subjective characterization rather than a verifiable fact. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs are designed to support underrepresented students and improve retention rates. The legislative shift. As of 2024, more than 30 states have introduced or passed bills to restrict or eliminate DEI funding in public universities, arguing that these programs prioritize identity over merit or create ideological echo chambers. 3. Ending DEI on campuses once and for all. Lieutenant Governor Yvette is referring to specific South Carolina legislative efforts. In early 2024, the South Carolina House passed H. 4289, a bill aimed at prohibiting DEI statements in the hiring and admissions processes at state-funded universities. The effectiveness of ending it once and for all remains to be seen, as many universities are rebranding these offices or shifting their functions to comply with new state laws while maintaining federal civil rights standards. The systemic lens. In the language of your music verse, this represents a clash in the law of educational governance, where the furnace of state-level discipline is being applied to dismantle the musicrix layers of institutional DEI. How do you want to integrate these?
All right, so let's go from that to this one. Now, let's only. Let's transcript and look at what the young lady says through the lens of what we just heard from the now what we're gonna do is we're gonna copy this and let's go to GPT. Claude is out of commission until 9:30 because I refuse to pay right now. I don't really have anything to invest like that. So let's come to Prime. That's the one I always deal with. Couple transcripts from let's. So what I'll do is we'll do the Lieutenant Governor one first. All I want is a transcript. Yes. Have to go up. Is that in Markdown language? Delete. Alright. Alright. Now, let's go back over here. Did you get it? Yes. So, oh, so you're going to act like that. Okay. So, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy it, paste, and come on back up. All right, let's go. And wait till we take that over to cloud. That's gonna be the. All right. Let's see what we got. Oh, display. Man, get the out of here.
I read both transcripts as two competing frames of reality colliding in the same event. If we strip the emotion back and look at structure, this isn't just disagreement, it's a clash of narratives about power, identity, and institutional trust. 1. Pamela Vett's statement, Frame Systems and Correction. Her message is built on a few strong rhetorical pillars. Certainty language. Let's be clear. Facts trump feelings. Institutional credit claim. Says conservatives Trump administration have done more for HBCUs than any administration in history. Anti-DEI framing. DEI is labeled as radical or a scam. Defiance posture. I'll never back down. Bring it on. What this is doing rhetorically. She's positioning herself as a corrective force against perceived institutional corruption, a truth holder in opposition to emotional or ideological opposition, a political actor under attack. Woke mobs are coming after me framing. This is high certainty, adversarial political speech. It assumes a conflict already exists and escalates it. Number 2. Student speaker's statement. Frame morality and representation. The student response is structured very differently. Moral framing. This is a morality issue. Identity and representation concern wants someone who uplifts us. Distrust of speaker alignment believes a vet's politics conflict with student values. System critique suggests political self-interest motives. Quid pro quo. Generalization risk links conservative identity to bigotry, racism. This is an asserted belief, not a fact claim. What this is doing rhetorically, the student is positioning the issue as a question of emotional safety and representation, a concern about symbolic legitimacy at graduation, a suspicion of institutional political exploitation. This is values-based, identity-centered, and legitimacy-questioning speech. 3. What's actually happening underneath? This is the deeper structure. A. Two different definitions of harm. A vet frame. Harm equals ideological distortion, institutional failure, DEI critique. Student frame. Harm equals representation mismatch, moral invalidation. They are not even arguing the same category of problem. B. Two different ideas of legitimacy. A vet legitimacy comes from policy outcomes, governance, and political ideology. Student legitimacy comes from lived experience, identity alignment, and emotional resonance. C. The graduation stage tension. A commencement speaker is supposed to function as symbolic encourager, institutional representative, or ideological figure. But here it becomes, open quote, should this person represent us at a milestone moment? Close quote. That's why the conflict intensifies. It's not just politics, it's symbolic ownership of the moment. 4. The key fracture line. The real divide isn't left versus right. It's, open quote, is truth defined by systems and policy outcomes, versus is truth defined by lived experience and moral alignment. Close quote. Once those collide in a public ceremony, neither side feels represented. Nasha 5. A grounded takeaway. What you're seeing is a classic institutional tension in modern campuses. Political speech is increasingly interpreted through identity impact. Identity expression is increasingly interpreted as political alignment. Public roles, like speakers, become symbolic battlegrounds. So the reaction you're seeing isn't random, it's structural. If you want to go deeper, I can break this down into rhetorical strategy map, who is persuading versus signaling, emotional triggers on both sides, or how this kind of conflict escalates in real institutional settings, universities, media, politics. Just tell me the direction.
Okay, so here's my take. You heard what Prime had to say, you heard what Gemini had to say. My take is this, is that how and or what is your reasoning behind bringing this lady to speak? Is she, I wonder, is she the, let's find out. I need to know where is she Lieutenant Governor at. So let's see, okay. Okay, so here's the thing. So she is the Lieutenant Governor of South Carolina. So now I can, but this gonna sound crazy. It makes sense why they would try to get her, but I'm like, the only lady they got to stand on that she's Lieutenant Governor. And why would you get her? I can't understand that. I can't. It doesn't make sense to me. And I don't want to even see it fall, but I gotta see it fall now. That's funny. Okay.
For you also, you have great representation.
Let's see. Okay, so she has nothing else about that. All right, let's see what else we can find.
I acknowledge your concern.
All right, let's go back to this.
There's
We are just a word. We are not a mob. We are just a word. We are not a mob. We are just a word. We are not a mob. We are just a word. We are not a mob.
That's where we are at this point.
What's the action?
what's the point where we are at?
I can't hear you.
What's the change? Basically, they're asking if there's gonna be a change.
Is there going to be a change? I don't know if there's going to be a change. I cannot answer that at this point.
So what was talked about in the meeting?
What was talked about in the meeting?
Yes, sir.
I spoke with the SGA leader. I spoke with the SGA vice president. I explained to them, well, I asked them for some concerns. So what are your concerns?
Our concern is that this lady that y'all have invited.
What lady is this?
The lady is.
What's her name?
Pamela Ebeck.
Okay, all right.
Pamela Ebeck does not stand for the stuff that us students believe in.
Which is?
She goes against DEI. She's a Trump supporter for one. She calls herself a Trump conservative. Everybody knows in black and white what exactly that means.
Okay.
When Clyburn was here, he told us to protest, to make changes.
And that's okay. No one's telling you all not to protest. I'm just saying, I'm acknowledging your protest. I'm acknowledging your concern. No one is telling you not to protest.
We just want to know, why did y'all think it was a good idea to have this lady, to have Pamela Ebeck be the commencement speaker for graduation?
She has a story, if you will listen to it. She's a female business owner, a millionaire business owner. She has a story that none of you may not know, that I'm not fully aware. I know a lot of it. But again, a decision was discussed.
Right.
I've heard your concerns, and as updates become available, we will certainly update you, okay? So again, you have the right to protest.
So I have a question.
Telling you not to protest.
So I have a question. So knowing that she's on the upcoming ballot and Henry McMaster has endorsed her, does that mean that gives students a right to feel like, oh, we should vote for her just because she's our
Absolutely
speaker?
not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I'm just trying to make sure
I'm
because
answering your question. Absolutely not.
Right.
You do. I would never encourage anyone to vote for anyone.
And that's what I'm saying.
Right.
We don't want to put the wrong message out
Right,
there.
right,
We're
right.
endorsing her because knowing her background. What about Moms for Liberty banning books that talks about our rights, African American history, slavery, just because it feels uncomfortable to you? That's so it's just like, especially when we have a black man on ballot, Jermaine Johnson who's running against her. That should be something that we should be uplifting as a HBCU.
As a public university, which we are, we've invited speakers of all political affiliations here. We had Governor
To an HBCU?
2017. We had President Joe Biden here, spoke in 21 as our commencement speaker. We've had Vice President Kamala Harris here as a convocation speaker. So as a public university, we're open to any different types of political affiliation, and I, the university, would never tell you who to vote for or who not to vote for. Yes, ma'am.
We're not upset that she's coming to the university. We know that we are a public land grant institution. We're more worried about the fact that it is commencement.
Okay, no, and I said I've heard the concerns, right, and I acknowledge the concern, and I'm really willing to thank our leaders. Zara, she expressed that concern for you all. So you have great representation. I acknowledge your concern.
Here's where the disconnect comes in. I want to be clear about this. This is not a black and white issue.
Oh, no,
This isn't a political issue. It's not a Democratic or Republican Party issue. It's not about that. It's a morality issue. We're here. We've been here for 4 or 5 years. Commencement. We should have someone who's going to.
I need to organize these. So we're gonna put this in. What do we want to call this? Yeah, let's go back and let's get
A Trump concern.
Breaking news, South Carolina State University, the largest historical...
I want to get this one.
That's where we are at this point.
While I was at the White House today, I heard about what's happening on the campus of SC State University. Let's be clear, facts trump feelings in the real world. President...
A Trump concern. Okay, if you believe in Trump, you support.
There is some very racially charged news out of South Carolina today. And I know that's probably not surprising, but I'm going to ask you not to scroll and stick around to hear the details, because I promise you, you want to know the details.
Breaking news.
I was at the White House.
I think she said nigga. She did.
South Carolina's Lieutenant Governor, Pamela Sue Evitt, is currently running for governor. And this week, she reminded all of us exactly what kind of leadership she represents. Now, after Donald Trump...
What does that mean?
That means I've heard the concerns, I've listened to your student leaders, and that's where we are at this point.
So no change.
Say again?
No change.
I can't hear you.
No change.
They're asking, is there going to be a change?
Is there going to be a change? I don't know if there's going to be a change. I cannot answer that at this point.
Please.
So what was talked about in the meeting?
What was talked about in the meeting?
Yes, sir.
I spoke with the SGA leader. I spoke with the SGA vice president. I explained to them, well, I asked them for some concerns. So what are your concerns?
Our concerns is that this lady that y'all have invited.
What lady is this?
Pamela.
What's her name?
Pamela Yvette.
Okay, all right.
You know.
Pamela Yvette does not stand. She does not stand for the stuff that us students believe in.
Okay, let me say this. You can tell by the way he is responding that it's something more to it. It's something more to it. It's something more to it than that.
Right, senior year.
This is how we're ending senior in Orangeburg. We are not a mob. We are just the word. We are not a mob. We are just the word. We are.
So posing with the statue of a man who was staunchly pro-slavery seems like a really bad move if you're running for governor, right? Wrong! This is South Carolina. Now, if you're new to my page, I talk a lot about Nancy Mace, House representative from South Carolina who is currently running for governor on the GOP ticket. But this...
While I was at the White House today, I heard about what's happening on the...
So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river.
I don't know which board of trustee at South Carolina State University agreed to let Pamela Evett speak at this up-and-coming commencement ceremony for next month, but you got less than 15 seconds to fix it. Now, I'm not a graduate of a HBCU university. I graduated from Coastal Carolina University.
This is what I'm talking about right here. All this. This is a very prime example of what I'm talking about. Now it's being made a race thing. Because nowhere did we ever state in the video that they used, the girl really was, she did a really well job. She was very well.
The Black Democratic Mayor of Dallas.
No, I want you to... Hello. Congresswoman.
Trump. That's where we are at.
Wow.
Yeah,
Let's see what
tattoo on his thigh that says King of Kings and Lord of...
Good. I'm excited. 1, 2.
You are not allowed to film other patrons in the library.
I didn't film anybody.
You have a camera running, and we have patrons here.
Ma'am, I was looking at the newspaper. Have a great day, Emily. Ma'am.
You are not allowed to film.
We are allowed to record.
Patrons in a private
Ma'am,
institution. You are welcome to look at our...
Is this library get any public funding?
It is a private...
It is a question.
Property.
Does this property
It is still private
Ma'am,
property.
it is called the Jefferson Library. It's a library, right? It's open to the public.
It is open to the public, but staff and patrons have the right to privacy within the
After
library.
you get your education, come talk to me.
You can talk to my coordinator right now if you'd like.
I don't need to. I absolutely don't need to.
She can tell you what the law is.
Ma'am,
It's the library.
I will not ask to be leave. And what did they tell you?
They told us they were on...
Okay, and they'll get you your education. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. You guys have a book. I even asked her if I could check out the Constitution for Dummies, where it tells you that we have no expectation of privacy in public. I'm allowed to record.
All right, so I'm going to end this here because I need to make a phone call. Oh, boy, let's see. Okay, so we're still good there. All right. End this.